What's going on, guys? So I was recently tagged by the infamous Gerard. I'll have it linked down below. And it's 5 of my favorite EDPs in my collection. Now, that is quite a tall task because I have a ton, literal ton it seems like, of really good eau de parfums in my collection. So I narrowed it down to 5 of my favorites, 2 that I've been wanting to reach for recently, one that just got added to the rotation table and I'm eager to wear, and and some other ones that are just personal favorites of mine. So, let's talk about them. Stay tuned. First and foremost is one that gets no love. This is Polo Red Eau de Parfum. Gets no love anywhere. I never see anybody talk about it. No scent of the day post. I don't see nothing. And I know well, not everybody, but a lot of people are a fan of Polo Red Extreme, Polo Red Intense. I get that. This is kind of the definitive version of the DNA for me personally because it still maintains the freshness. You get some spice. Still have a little bit of that coffee feel, even though I don't really recall it being in the notes. Kind of an orangey, citrus, blood orange type of feel at the top with some beautiful ginger. It's like it stays true to the Polo Red DNA. It's not just a higher oil concentration of the original. It does change. It's changed a little bit. This is a spicier take, but it stays true to a lot of that mass appealing, not so cloying sweetness, but sweet and spicy type of fragrance that's extremely attractive. My wife is a big fan of this one. I haven't wore it in some time, and when I was grabbing it out the box to put it on my rotation table, she just happened to walk into the room and said, "Ooh, that's one I like, right?" And I let her smell. She's like, "Oh yeah, that's definitely one I like." So just a little side note, wife's a big fan of this one, so there's no reason for me to not wear it more. It's the perfect time of year to wear it. So if you were ever a fan of any of the versions of Polo Red, maybe it's time to get your nose on this one if you have yet to, because it's actually quite good. For me personally, it's the definitive take because it's not so dense and thick that I can't wear it in the summer, yet not so fresh and weak and light that I can't wear it in the winter. This is kind of the best year-round of the DNA. So, one of the best EDPs in my collection, Polo Red EDP. Next, this performs like you would expect from an extremely high-quality EDP. We're not talking designer this time. We're talking about niche, and we're talking about the House of Amouage. This is Boundless. So, Boundless is a gorgeous tobacco fragrance. Absolutely stunning stuff. It's a little smoky, it's earthy, there's some citruses at the top. It's very woody as it dries. It starts off very earthy, but starts to get much creamier as it settles down. This one does have several nuances to it. It does have that signature that most have come to expect, that thumbprint, if you will, from Amouage, that Middle Eastern feel of the incenses, the resins, and such. Gorgeous. Gorgeous fragrance. It gets a lot of mixed reviews where some people are not so much fans of it, and then others rave about it. I'm one of the ones that raves about it. This is such a great addition to anyone's collection. Anybody that's a tobacco fragrance lover, or anybody that really enjoys the House of Amouage in general and is looking for a great fine fragrance that's based around tobacco, this is definitely a really good one. In performance is lights out. I wouldn't call it the beast of all beasts. There's stronger Amouage fragrances than this for sure, but it is very far from an average to weak fragrance. This is, in the beast mode territory for sure. The longevity's there. It's all day long. The sillage is great. Projection's very heavy early on. It leaves nothing to be desired. It's quality. It's well blended, deep enough, rich enough to where it's got several changes to the I say several, but a few changes to the fragrance. You'll get different nuances. So it's a deep enough scent profile. It's just, it's got the performance. It's likable. It's not too challenging of a Middle Eastern tobacco fragrance. It's really got it going on. Get a sample and try this one. If anything I said interests you, or maybe you were on the fence, now's the time. Amouage Boundless. So this one's for those fresher days. I haven't wore this in a little while. I really, really love this fragrance for the spring. This is my Acqua fragrance of choice for the spring. We're talking about Profondo Lights. So this is last year's flanker. This year's flanker at the recording of this is the Eau de Parfum version of Acqua di Gio, which this is an Eau de Parfum. Performs as such. The difference with this one from Profondo is it's not quite as aquatic. It's a little bit more fresh green, fresh spicy in the top. Not quite as sharp. Still smells like Profondo, especially as it starts to settle down and dry down. But I do prefer this. This is my preferred take on Acqua di Gio Profondo. It's my favorite in the line, to be honest with you. This is the one that is, for as much praise as I give Profumo, because Profumo in many ways is the end-all be-all, the most versatile of the bunch. This is the one that I love smelling on myself the most. I wear Absolute the most. Absolute Profondo kind of run neck and neck these days. Profumo, I think, is just so special, but this one is the one I just can't stop smelling myself when I wear. So this is definitely a special eau de parfum in my collection. Very happy to have this one. It is Giorgio Armani's Acqua di Gio Profondo Lights. Next, unfortunately, is a discontinued gem. It is my favorite flanker of 1 million. It's Paco Rabanne's 1 million Prive. This stuff is so, so good. I wish it would focus for you guys. There we go. This is such a good fragrance. Slowly but surely working on this one. Sweet, spicy, a lot of cinnamon, a little bit of creamy tobacco. It's not really all that earthy. It's typical sweet stuff, but here there's enough spice to counterbalance that, and the tobacco really adds some depth to this scent profile, because it does borrow some of 1 million's DNA. It is a true flanker for sure, but it's not quite as sweet as 1 million. It's not quite as sweet as 1 million Lucky either. This one, like I said, the spices and the tobacco really changed this one for the better. This is one of my favorite aromas of the fall season. This is basically autumn in a bottle to me. This is, for a long time, one of my, if not favorite, fall fragrances. I wear it sparingly because it's not that easy to find anymore. I do have 250 ml, so I really don't have a whole lot of reason to be so sparing with it because I have so many fragrances. It's just, that's kind of the downside to having so many fragrances, that beauties like this don't get worn enough. If you have this one in your collection, you know exactly where I'm coming from. This is one of the better designer fragrances to come out in the last 10 years, at least in my humble opinion. And it's one of the better EDPs in my collection for sure. This stuff smells amazing. So easy to like. Is 1 million Prive. Last but not least, even though this is an eau de parfum concentration, it kind of performs like a parfum in many ways with the longevity and the sillage, but the projection is definitely there early on. It is my favorite rose fragrance. It's one of my favorite incense-heavy fragrances. We are talking about Zaharoff Signature Rosé, at the recording of this video, the best fragrance, my favorite Zaharoff fragrance from the house, excluding the Z Creators collections. Of course, can't, throw my fragrance in here. At least I don't think I can. Which my new one, speaking of, shameless plug, is a pure parfum concentration, so it couldn't qualify for this video anyways. Man, there's a lot of fans of this one. It's not just me. It's so good. My wife has her own bottle, perfectly unisex, definitely a more masculine, rose-dominant fragrance, but it smells amazing on women, guys. I just want to tell you, just as good as it's going to smell on you, it smells good on the ladies as well. The sweetness comes out more on my wife's skin, whereas the incense, the darker notes, the resin, the little bit of the oud, which it's more of a warm wood smell, if anything, from the oud, comes out more on my skin. I don't get quite a ton of sweetness, but there is some sweetness there supporting it with the vanilla bean and sugar cane. Sounds really sweet. Not so much on my skin. Just a light sweetness, but the variety of roses, that deep, jammy Bulgarian rose, the fresh, almost watery-like Turkish rose, it's got a few different phases to the fragrance. It's not linear, but it's not ultra complex where there's a lot of changes. You can pretty much detect and pick up a lot of the different notes and accords that were created by Claude here. It's a pretty easy fragrance to figure out, in my opinion, that just has so much to offer and so much versatility for being dominated by rose and incense. That's crazy to hear and crazy for me to even say, but it just works. I've worn this in the summer. I've worn this in every season, basically. I've worn it casually. I've worn it dressed up. I've worn it to dinner. Believe it or not, this is mega versatile. Very, very special scent. Definitely one of the best EDPs I own. Hands down. Zaharoff Signature Rosé. Well, this was a tag video. Gerard tagged me, and as per usual, I will leave this as an open tag, so any channels, any fragrance content creators, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, is your platform that you do most of your content on. You are tagged. By all means, let us know what is the 5 of the best eau de parfum fragrances in your collection. Kind of an odd tag, I get it, but sometimes these can be fun because it's a little out the box thinking. I mean, who thinks normally, what's 5 of my favorite EDPs? You know, you could go many ways with this. 5 of my favorite eau de colognes, 5 of my favorite parfums. I get it. There's countless topics and lists that you can make when it comes to fragrances sometimes. Creativity is definitely there. This is a little bit more of a creative tag because it's very specific to an oil concentration. So I was definitely interested in doing this one. I was glad he tagged me. And like I said, open tag. Anybody that wants to do it, you're tagged. Well, that's the 5 that I have for you today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback. And I love hearing from you guys. What's 5 of your personal favorites? What's your favorite EDP? Not even 5. What's 1 or 2 that just really jump out at you? And they're the first ones that come to mind. Love to read about it in the comments. Until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of my 5 favorites and you give them a spray now, pretty confident you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.